Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time, maybe daily, maybe hourly, when the body says, "Part rest," but the vision says, "Psst, psst, rise." That's the moment when the decision matters, not when it's easy, not when it's convenient. The moment when you feel tired, but choose to move anyway. Discipline begins where comfort ends. The truth is, most people stop when they feel tired. That's average, that's common, and the common man lives a common life. But greatness doesn't grow in the soil of ease. It blooms in the discomfort. It blossoms in exhaustion. You see, energy doesn't always precede action. Sometimes action generates energy. Motion creates momentum. The very act of pushing through fatigue builds more than muscle. It builds character. It builds grit. And grit beats talent when talent won't work. The difference between a dreamer and a doer is what happens when it gets hard. And it always gets hard. So when you feel like sitting, stand. When you feel like quitting, move. When your mind whispers it just since you've done enough, shout back one more step. Because every step you take when tired becomes a brick in the foundation of your strength. And one day when you're standing tall and they ask you, "How did you do it?" You'll remember the days you moved when you felt like stopping. Force yourself to move when you feel tired. Not because it's easy, but because that's what uncommon people do. Discipline is the bridge between desire and achievement. It's that quiet, consistent force that turns wishes into results. Everyone wants something: more success, better health, stronger relationships, financial freedom. The desire is never the problem. The problem is the gap between wanting and having. That gap doesn't close on its own. It doesn't close with good intentions. It closes with discipline. Discipline means doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. It's getting up early when the bed feels warm. It's putting in the work when nobody's watching. It's saying no to what you want now so you can say yes to what you want most. Desire is the spark. Discipline is the fuel. See, desire is emotional. It can come and go, but discipline is built. It's practiced. It becomes a habit. And once it's a habit, it starts to carry you. You no longer have to fight the same battle every day. You just follow through. You move with purpose. You stop depending on motivation and start depending on your standards. People often look at someone successful and say, "They must be lucky." But if you look closer, you'll see patterns, daily rituals, hard choices, repeated sacrifices. That's not luck. That's discipline, compounded over time. Achievement isn't reserved for the most talented or the most connected. It belongs to those who show up every day, even when it's boring, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. That's the price. But discipline always pays more than it costs. Desire may start the journey, but only discipline will get you across. Fatigue is a test, not a physical one, but a test of your spirit, your will, your reasons. Anyone can move when they're fresh, when the wind's at their back, when the road is smooth. That's easy. But fatigue shows up to ask you one question: chant, how much do you really want it? It whispers when no one's around. It visits late at night, early in the morning, and in the middle of the grind. It doesn't come with warning. It doesn't ask for permission. It arrives to see if you'll fold or if you'll push forward anyway. Fatigue is the separator. It's the moment that defines the successful from the almost. It doesn't care how talented you are, how smart, how fast you started. It cares how deep you'll dig when your legs are heavy, your mind is foggy, and your emotions are telling you to pack it up. It doesn't show up to destroy you. It shows up to reveal you. And in that moment, you'll hear two voices, one that says, "Point, you've done enough," and another that says, "You've got more in you." Most people listen to the first. Builders, doers, they lean into the second. They understand that fatigue isn't a wall, it's a door. And what's on the other side is where growth lives. Anyone can be enthusiastic on day one. Anyone can smile during the honeymoon phase of a new goal. But fatigue shows up on day 10, day 30, day 90. It shows up after failure, after rejection, after life throws its distractions and discouragements your way. And it wants to see, "Tights, will you show up anyway?" And fatigue doesn't mean stop. It means your body is catching up to your ambition. It means the price is being paid. You don't build resilience and comfort. You build it in tired moments. You build it in the extra rep, the final call, the late night writing session, the early morning workout, the one more try after 5 failures. Fatigue teaches you. It strips away your excuses, your fluff, your shallow reasons, and it leaves only the truth. If you keep going despite it, you pass the test. You earn the right to rise. Because that's where real confidence comes from. Not pretending to be strong, but proving it to yourself when strength is low. So the next time fatigue shows up, smile. Don't resent it. Respect it. It came to see if you're worthy of the next level. It came to see if your dreams are stronger than your comfort. And if you push through, if you keep moving, not recklessly, but relentlessly, you send a message back, first I'm ready. That's the test. Pass it. Motion precedes emotion. That's a truth most people overlook. They wait around, hoping the feeling will come before they take action. They say, I'll start when I feel ready. But here's the secret. So you don't get to feel like it first. You move first. The feeling follows. The mind loves to be comfortable. It loves to stay still, to conserve energy, to protect you from effort. But the body, once you put it in motion, starts to awaken something the mind forgot, momentum. And momentum is powerful. It doesn't need a spark. It creates its own fire. Think about it. How many days have you sat on the edge of your bed, lacking all desire to get up, but once you stood, stretched, and took that first step, something changed. Your blood started moving. Your heart beat a little faster. Clarity returned. What happened? You moved first and the mind followed. People have it backwards. They say, I'll go to the gym when I feel motivated, and I'll work on my goals when I feel inspired, and she'll take that step when the mood is right. But the mood is unreliable. Slippery, it comes and goes. Waiting for emotion is like trying to chase the wind. The winners in life, they don't wait, they move. They understand that motion creates a shift in state. The action itself builds the motivation. They get up when they don't want to. They start when it's inconvenient. They don't feel their way into doing, they do their way into feeling. And something remarkable happens when you live this way. Discipline turns into rhythm. Rhythm turns into habit. And habit turns into identity. You no longer need to psych yourself up. You just act. And because you act, the emotion shows up, not the other way around. Want confidence? Move. Want energy? Move. Want clarity, courage, momentum? Move. Don't wait to be in the mood to write, create, train, study, lead. Get into motion and those feelings will catch up with you. They always do. You see, life rewards action. The world responds to energy. And energy isn't something you wait for. It's something you generate. The first push is the hardest. The second becomes easier. By the third, you're rolling. And by the time you realize it, you've already become what you were waiting to feel. The mind may resist. It may try to negotiate, but the body, once in motion, becomes the lever that moves the rest. So the next time you say, I don't feel like it, remind yourself that's not the signal to stop. That's the signal to start. You move, and the feelings you need will find you on the path. Every time. Comfort is the enemy of growth. It wears a friendly face, speaks in a gentle voice, and offers you a soft chair and a warm blanket. But underneath that surface, it holds you back. It whispers, you're fine where you are, even when your potential is calling from beyond. Growth demands discomfort, always has, always will. You can't improve by staying the same. You can't rise while standing still. Every time you stretch, there's tension. Every time you climb, there's effort. And every time you grow, there's a bit of pain. That's the price. Comfort asks for nothing and gives you nothing. Look at nature. A seed must crack before it becomes a tree. The ground must be broken before it yields a harvest. Muscles must tear before they grow stronger. That process isn't cozy. It's pressure, strain, challenge. But it's necessary. It's the only way forward. Now, comfort isn't evil. It's just seductive. It tells you lies like, you've done enough. Take it easy. Tomorrow's better. But growth doesn't speak that way. Push a little more. Try again. Where it's hard. And most people don't want to hear that. They'd rather stay in the known, even if it means missing out on what's possible. The comfort zone is safe, but it's a trap. Nothing new happens there. You don't learn much sitting in the same chair, talking to the same people, doing the same things day after day. It might feel good, but it robs you of progress. It keeps your life small. It makes sure your dreams remain ideas instead of accomplishments. You don't grow by doing what you already know. You grow by doing what's unfamiliar, what's uncertain, what challenges your current limits. That presentation you don't want to give, that conversation you're avoiding, that habit you've been meaning to change. That's where growth lives, in the discomfort you keep stepping around. And here's the thing. Discomfort is temporary, but the growth it brings lasts. When you look back, you'll never regret the difficult moments that made you better. You'll regret the easy ones you let steal your time. You'll regret the days you played small, not the days you dared to be more. So don't be fooled by comfort. It looks like a reward, but it's often a delay. It keeps you where you are, not where you could be. Real growth, real strength, real breakthroughs, they all begin where comfort ends. Not once, every time. Step into the unfamiliar, lean into the challenge, say yes to the stretch. That's the path. It won't be the easiest, but it will always be worth it. Every action compounds. At first, it may not seem like much. You read one page, take one walk, make one call, save $1, practice for 5 minutes. On their own, these seem small, insignificant even. But here's the truth. Nothing big starts big. Everything meaningful begins as something small done consistently. The danger is in thinking it doesn't matter, that missing one day won't hurt, that skipping this task won't change the outcome. But it does, because every action is a vote for who you are becoming. And every time you do something or don't, you're casting that vote. One workout doesn't change your body, but 100 will. One moment of patience won't fix a relationship, but a steady pattern of it will heal years of distance. Consistency is the silent builder. It works while no one's watching, without applause or instant results. It stacks slowly, like bricks in a wall. And here's the catch. You don't see the wall right away. That's why most people stop. They're looking for immediate payoff. But the payoff doesn't come in a day. It comes from daily. Success doesn't come from what you do occasionally. It comes from what you do consistently. Little disciplines practiced over time become massive advantages. And the opposite is just as true. Little neglects ignored over time become major setbacks. You don't have to crash your life overnight. Just drift one unwise choice at a time. And one day you wake up wondering how you got so far off track. It's all compounding. Every thought, every action, every habit, every decision, it's either working for you or against you. Nothing is neutral. It's all either building the life you want or breaking it down slowly. This applies to every area: your health, your finances, your relationships, your mind. Feed your mind a little truth each day, and years later, you're wise. Feed it junk, and you're confused. Save a little every week, and one day you're secure. Spend every dime, and one day you're stuck. It's always adding up. And here's what most people miss. The compound effect is invisible at first. You feel like you're doing the work and getting nowhere. You're running, sweating, sacrificing, and there's no applause, no breakthrough, no change. That's the test. Can you keep going when there's no immediate reward? Can you trust the process when the results are still underground? Because the moment will come when the compound curve takes off. That's when years of unseen effort explode into visible success. People will call it sudden. It's not. It's earned quietly over time through ordinary actions done with extraordinary consistency. So never underestimate a small step. Never overlook a small win. Never ignore the quiet power of showing up today, doing the right thing, and doing it again tomorrow. Because every action compounds. And the life you dream of is built, not in leaps, but in layers. You can't negotiate with weakness. You can't reason with it. You can't compromise with it. And you certainly can't expect it to politely step aside and let you grow. Weakness doesn't bargain. It dominates when allowed. It doesn't care about your goals, your dreams, or your good intentions. It only listens to one thing: discipline. Weakness is that voice that says, just a little more rest. You've earned a break. It's you. And if you give it a seat at the table, it'll take over the whole room. It never stops asking for more room, more delay, more softness. And if you keep negotiating with it, you'll end up living a life far below your potential. Not because you couldn't rise, but because you kept pausing to listen. Strength, on the other hand, doesn't speak loudly. It's quiet. It's built. It shows up when you stop giving weakness a vote. You don't need to feel strong to act strong. You just need to stop entertaining weakness like it's your equal. Weakness is clever. It knows your soft spots. It doesn't show up with horns and fire. It shows up in comfort, in convenience, in good excuses. It tells you what you want to hear, that you're tired, that you've done enough, that no one will know, that this once won't matter. And if you believe it, it wins. Not all at once, but slowly. One skipped workout, one broken promise, one delayed action at a time, and before long it becomes who you are. But the beautiful thing, strength is always available. It's always waiting for you to stop the negotiation and take command. The moment you say, no more deals, something changes inside. You stop asking how you feel and start asking what needs to be done. That's the turning point. That's when discipline takes the wheel. You see, weakness can only survive where permission is given. You starve it by showing up. You silence it by acting. You beat it not with noise, but with consistency. You can't outtalk weakness, but you can outwork it. Every time you do what's hard when it's easier to quit, you break its grip. Every time you choose effort over excuse, you put weakness in its place. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being committed. It's about knowing that every time you give weakness the floor, it grows, and every time you deny it, you grow. So the next time weakness starts whispering, don't argue, don't explain, don't even respond, just move, do the reps, make the call, finish the task, get out of bed, push through the resistance. Because once you do, the voice fades, not because it gave up, but because you stopped listening. You can't negotiate with weakness. You can only replace it with strength, with resolve, with relentless forward motion. And that, over time, becomes your new standard. The pain of pushing through is temporary. It may feel heavy in the moment. It might burn your muscles, fog your mind, and make you question your reasons. But it doesn't last. That ache, that fatigue, that discomfort, it fades. What stays is what it made you into. Pain has a short memory, but growth doesn't. The soreness you feel today is tomorrow's strength. The fatigue you feel in the grind is the foundation of future endurance. The sting of sacrifice, it turns into the pride of discipline. The pain of pushing through is simply the toll you pay for progress, and it's always temporary. But you know what isn't temporary? Regret. Quitting stays with you. Missing your moment stays with you. That feeling you get when you knew you could have gone further but chose comfort instead, that sticks. That memory haunts. Not because of what it cost you in the moment, but because of what it cost you in the long run. Pain is a part of the journey. It shows up when you're stretching beyond what's easy, beyond what's familiar. It arrives to ask you if you're serious. And most people, let's be honest, they tap out. They confuse discomfort with danger. But discomfort is a signal that something is happening, something is changing, growth is taking place. Every champion, every builder, every leader, every person who's ever done anything worthwhile has made peace with pain. Not the kind that injures, but the kind that strengthens. They've learned to embrace it because they understand it's not the enemy. It's the evidence that they're on the right path. And the irony, once you push through, you rarely even remember how bad it felt. You just remember that you made it, that you didn't back down, that you kept going when it would have been easier to stop. And that becomes a part of you. It builds resilience, confidence, and an inner fire that can't be taken away. Pain tests you, not to break you, but to build you. It strips away weakness. It forces you to find out what you're really made of. And here's the truth. The ones who push through the pain are the ones who get the reward, not because they're lucky, not because they don't feel it, but because they decided the goal was worth more than the temporary discomfort. You don't have to enjoy it. You just have to respect it. Know that it's part of the process. Remind yourself that the pain you feel today is a down payment on the strength, the skill, the success you'll carry for a lifetime. So when it hurts, when it's hard, when it's tempting to stop, say to yourself, when this is temporary. The clock is ticking, and this pain has an expiration date. But what it gives you, that's permanent. That's the real prize. Push through. The pain won't last, but the person you become because of it will. Energy is renewable, but only through action. That's a truth most people never realize, and it costs them dearly. They sit and wait, thinking they need to rest more, to feel better, to pause longer, to find motivation, to recover endlessly before making a move. But here's the catch. Energy doesn't just show up when you're still. It shows up when you start. You don't get energized by waiting. You get energized by doing. You might feel tired, worn out, sluggish in your body or your mind. But the moment you start to move, even just a little, something shifts. The blood flows, the brain wakes up, the fog begins to clear. Not because you waited for inspiration, but because you acted in spite of fatigue. Action is the ignition switch. It's the spark that brings your system back online. You don't have to feel strong to lift, just lift and strength starts to come. You don't have to feel creative to write, just start writing and the ideas begin to flow. You don't have to feel alive to move, just move and suddenly you're alive again. Most people have it backward. They think rest equals energy, but too much rest. That builds rust, not strength. That builds doubt, not confidence. You were made to move. You were built for forward motion. Your body, your mind, your spirit, they respond to momentum, not passivity. There's a difference between fatigue and inactivity. Real fatigue deserves rest, but most of what people call a tired is just unused potential. It's energy that's sitting idle, waiting to be unlocked by motion. Like a battery that charges while running, your energy builds as you engage with your life, not hide from it. The first few steps might be heavy. The first few minutes might feel slow. But if you trust the process, if you keep going, something incredible happens. Your energy increases. Not from outside you, but from within you. You activate what's already there. And once you learn that, you stop waiting. You stop negotiating with your emotions. You don't ask, "Shoo, I feel like it." You ask, what needs to be done? And by doing, you refuel. That's how the winners stay sharp. That's how they keep showing up. Not by being endlessly inspired, but by understanding that energy isn't found, it's generated. So if you're feeling low, don't sit in it. Stand up, move your feet, make the call, write the page, hit the gym. Start small if you have to, but start. You'll find the energy you need isn't out there waiting. It's inside, just dormant. Action wakes it up. Energy is renewable, but not through waiting, hoping, or wishing. Only through action. Movement breathes life back into your day, your goals, and your spirit. The more you move, the more you have. And that's the real power. Excuses are easy, results are rare. Anyone can make an excuse, most do. It doesn't take talent, discipline, or courage to come up with a reason why something didn't get done. Excuses are always within reach, always convenient, always dressed in perfect logic. They sound good. They even feel good for a moment. But they buy you nothing in return. Results, on the other hand, are earned. They don't come from talking, blaming, stalling, or explaining. They come from doing, from showing up when you're tired, from finishing when you'd rather stop, from sticking to it long after the mood has left. Results don't care how hard your day was. They don't care what you meant to do or how valid your reason is. They only come when effort is applied day in and day out with discipline. That's why so few people have results to show. It's not because they aren't capable. It's because they took the easier path too often. They said, "I'll do it tomorrow." They said, "It wasn't feeling well." They said, "I didn't have enough time." And maybe all those things were true. Outcome remains the same. Nothing changes when excuses take priority. Excuses defend your comfort zone. They protect your pride. They give you an out, but they also keep you stuck. They cost you progress and peace of mind. You can't grow and protect your excuses at the same time. You'll either have a list of reasons or a list of results, but never both. And here's the irony. Most excuses are built on fear. Fear of failure, fear of looking foolish, fear of falling short. But results, they build confidence. They build credibility with yourself first and then with the world. Because when you have results, you don't need to talk much. You don't have to convince anyone. The outcome speaks for itself. Anyone can promise. Anyone can try. But the ones who finish, who follow through, who fight through the resistance, they stand apart. You know them when you see them. You respect them even if you don't like them. Because results are hard to argue with. They come with weight. And you don't need to change your whole life overnight to get results. You just need to stop defending your excuses. Replace them with one small action, then another, and then another. It's not about being perfect. It's about being honest. Honest about what you really want. Honest about what's holding you back. And honest enough to admit when you've been letting the easy road win. Excuses are easy. They require nothing of you, but they give nothing in return. Results are rare because they ask something of you every day. Your time, your energy, your focus, your commitment. But what they give back, that's priceless. Confidence, clarity, momentum, mastery. So trade the easy route for the uncommon one. Ditch the excuse and do the work. Because in the end, the world rewards the people who finish, not the ones who almost started.